stuff with me that I can't replace easily at the destination, wherever that destination might be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Well,
that's
I've just
that's
come to
the
the
deal.
conclusion when I go to a gig outside of the console and maybe a monitor or something like that, depending on how much space I have. But most of the monitors I carry my own. So everything that I have at front of house outside of the console is mine.
Me
It's
too.
Mhm.
all my computers. It's all my own lights. It's all my own connections, cables,
Yeah, that
switches,
that way you know that it's pretty
everything.
much going to work.
Yeah, everything that I
Yeah,
carry is mine, except the desk itself and the
makes sense.
speakers and everything else. But everything at front of house for where I live is mine.
Absolutely makes a lot of sense. So how's everybody doing? Welcome to Thinking Out Loud with Friends. 268 today. That's it. We've done it in a row, consistent. And I want to thank you all for showing up. And believe it or not, people are watching us and making really great comments. And we've got a couple of guests coming up. One guest in particular, Greg McVeigh, is going to be here next week talking about his book. So I think that's pretty cool that he's going to come and talk about his book.
What's this
And
book about?
also, it's a good question. I'm glad you asked me on when I was live. You would think I know everything about his book, you know. I'm more of the Abby Hoffman kind of guy. Steal this book, you know. Don't buy this book. Or go up on Amazon.com and read the blurb about the book, you know. But no, it's about his experiences in the entertainment business and the people that he's met. And so that's
Huh.
what it's about. And he's been
Bruce,
around a long time.
I have a homework assignment for you, Bruce,
Yes, dear.
because you said you're going next year to the Panama through the Panama Canal.
Yes, next October.
So you read The Path Between the Seas by
I got to
David
write that down.
McCullough.
So you're not going with us, huh?
Uh, I think 10 grand.
October of October of 26.
Yeah, probably out of budget, but and I don't
Yeah,
know
but
my wife has that much of an interest, but I would.
it's a
But
bucket list for me. So at that point, I didn't care how much it was. I was doing it.
yeah, that book by McCullough is not only a fantastic read about the building of the Panama Canal. To me, it's one of the best books I've ever read. And I'm a big David McCullough fan, the historian who's no longer around. But
Path
I
Between the
just,
Seas.
yeah, The Path Between the Seas. So I just finished his book on the Wright brothers,
Did you
and
read?
I am halfway through a book called Mornings on Horseback, which is about the childhood and coming up of Teddy Roosevelt. So
Did you
Mhm.
read the book? It was about the coming to America. Columbus's ships, the original, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. He wrote
no, but who did?
it's called The Mayflower, and
The Mayflower.
it's written based on the notes from Miles Standish and the ship's captains. And when they built the town in Massachusetts, it's basically the real story of them interacting with the Indians, the Native Americans there, and everybody is led to believe that we, killed them all and did all this stuff when in fact, they had warring factions between their cities, and they were very jealous
Yeah.
that some people were friends with the newcomers
So
from England, and they
would
killed
this
each
be
other.
would this be Mayflower, a story of courage, community, and war?
Yep, that's it. It's amazingly good, and my
And
brother
and
turned
by
me
the
on to that
way,
one.
Greg's book is called Just 100 Questions, a collection of thoughts on music and sound.
Oh, how fun!
And
That sounds good.
so, yep, just 100 questions described by author Greg McVeigh as a love letter to the touring and live sound world. In this collection, he asks over 100 live sound engineers, musicians, music industry executives, and proverbial just one question. This book is not a collection of technical observations, but just favorite loudspeaker or mixing desk, rather a personal, sometimes poignant view into the lives of these people. And
Hmm.
anyway, it seems pretty interesting.
That should be
It's
fun. Yeah.
35.80 on Amazon
Cool.
in paperback form. So that's cool. Anyway, moving along, as you know, I'm going up to Zion next week. I'm looking very much forward to it. And I was just curious to know if anyone in this room has any experience with the Insta 360 camera.
No.
No. Good. All right, moving on. I'll tell you all about it when I buy one.
But I went up to Zion, and that's a beautiful place. You're going to love it.
Yeah, absolutely will. I'm going to be taking lots of pictures. The one thing that I haven't seen since I've been a kid, actually, well, that's not really true. I once went on a cruise with David, and in the middle of the Caribbean, we saw the stars, like amazing amount of stars. And that's why I'm going to Zion. I want to see the stars because the last time I really saw the stars, other than being on that cruise ship, was uh, upstate New York in Washingtonville, and that was when I was a little kid. And I don't think Bo has ever seen the stars because in Thailand it's so humid. There's always a cloud covering all over Thailand, so you can't really see it. Greg, when you were in Bhutan, did you see the stars?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you gotta understand. My place there was at 5,900 feet. Okay, and then we would go up from there. So I would typically be up at like 9,000 feet or so, and they much in between. And there's literally no air pollution in Bhutan. There is some just because there is some water pollution in some of the cities, but they're addressing that. But yeah, it's glorious.
Why don't
I
you
get to see the stars every night. Hi, Craig.
why
How
don't
you
you
doing?
save all the time and hassle and just have her hit you on the head with a frying pan?
So Jan, the one thing you got to remember is Zion's a canyon. So I'm sure you'll see the stars, but you're going to be in areas that are in canyons. So there's going to be forest all around you going up the canyon sides. And
Yeah.
when you're in the towns, there'll be light, And I would say if on your way there or on your way back, depending on when you're going, right when you either just before you leave Nevada or right when you come back into Nevada after or before that rock cut, there is absolutely nothing out there. And I'm sure, because you spent a lot of time in the desert, that if you get outside of the city, you can pull over and shut off the lights of the car and get out of the car and walk around and see more stars than ever.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I really love about driving through the desert is there's just nothing out there.
Well, let me
Yeah.
tell you what we're doing. I did some AI and Google searching and talked to a few friends, and there's a place called the Ponderosa, which is not actually in Zion. It's just outside Zion, and they're known for their amazing views of the sky.
Cool.
And the place that I rented is called, I believe, the Sunset View. So it has a huge picture window, so that when the sun goes down, we will be able to see the stars through that picture window as well, going outside and
Oh,
stuff
that's
like
great.
that.
That's
So I'm
wonderful.
really looking forward to it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And so, hey, um, anyway, but speaking of stars, I just read The Who. All right, The Who is going out on tour. And what's amazing to me is Roger Daltrey is 81 and Pete Townsend is 80. And they are going out on the road.
We're
I thought he had
supplying
hearing issues that prevented him from performing.
Tinnitus, he had tinnitus. But evidently, it's not going to stop him from this particular tour.
we have to provide all the stage stuff for Sport Act in Seattle.
Oh, how great!
They're not giving them
Excellent.
anything, and they won't transport it. So I had to hook them up with Sound Image to do it there, and with another company up in Canada because they won't even let them transport the package. So they have to get a new stage package in every town.
Oh my
This is for
goodness.
the Support Act?
Yeah,
N-
Candlebox. They're from Seattle. They're doing
Now,
Vancouver, Seattle, and San Francisco.
now is the Who traveling with production?
Yeah, but they won't do anything for the Support Act. I have to send a console. I got to send a monitor rig, mics, stands, cables, all that, people to do it.
Wow.
Now, are they bringing their own stacks and racks?
Yeah, the Who have everything the Who needs. They're just not doing anything for the support act other than letting them plug into the PA.
Do we know who's
Wow.
drumming?
Well, we know who's not drumming. Keith Moon won't be making it this trip.
And I
Yeah,
haven't been
that.
invited.
But Ringo's kid's not there anymore, right? He got fired.
They'll probably call Simon Phillips or something. Who knows? Or
Yeah,
Steve
Simon
Ethan
Phillips.
Bird.
So they may use Phil Collins. You know, Nick is quite good.
That's his son.
Yep.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
watching a video with Simon Phillips the other day, and he mentioned something about the Who. I don't know if he said that he did work with them or is going to work with them, but
He did.
Was he out with them
worked
before?
Long time ago. Yeah.
Before
Okay,
Zach.
okay. Yeah.
I was going to say something about watching the stars before we slip onto back to the Who. Seeing the stars is great. Seeing the Milky Way is unbelievable.
Well, that's what you get to see. You get to see a picture of time of the past, because the lights that are going to be hitting you have traveled millions and millions of light years to get to you.
Yeah. I know but I'm not sure if you've ever seen the Milky Way. It's not like seeing the stars. Of course, the Milky Way's got stars, but to see one of the arms of the Milky Way, I'm not sure where you have to be to see that. I'm not even sure if it travels everywhere, but at my log cabin, every summer I was able to see it really clearly. And it's
That's nice.
you know,
To be clear, Denis,
Yeah.
we travel.
yeah,
The
that's
stars.
right. That's right.
The stars
Sorry,
aren't
okay.
traveling.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Well,
You're right,
that's almost everything is moving. Everything is
Right.
moving.
But I
Nothing
think
is
we're
nothing
moving
is
a little bit
stationary.
faster to get that,
Yeah.
We have a 366 day orbit almost now. So, and like Mars has what 400 days, I think,
Yeah.
421.
Do you guys know Brian Cox? You know who he is? Brian Cox, the astronomer.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I listened to him, and I did not know this. I mean, I might have noticed, but I've forgotten that we travel around the sun. Of course, I knew that. But what I didn't know is the sun is also moving.
Of course.
And everything is moving around in space, and they say that the universe is expanding nonstop, is expanding. However, that's going to change in about 7 billion years, they have projected.
So, when you look at pictures of the Milky Way, one of those stars that are in the Milky Way is actually our sun, where that's us.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we are. We're in the Milky Way. So when you
Yeah.
look out, all the stars you see, and then after that, I believe it's the Andromeda strain past us. And
But when the Earth is at the right angle and it's a certain time, when you look out, you can actually see the edge of it, which is what I think Dennis was talking about. Was it
The Milky
Dennis?
Way is cool and everything, but I'm more of a mounds
Gregor-
guy.
Yes,
yeah, mounds. I like M&Ms myself.
Yeah,
But you know what
I have a
you know what I
question
found,
related
Bruce?
to that.
Yeah, you know what I found, Bruce? I
What's
said
that?
if I have a mirror, then when I look into it, I could see myself. It's amazing.
Do you?
How do they do
But
that?
do you like what you see?
Love it, baby, love it.
All right,
So
guys.
I have a question then.
I got a technical question after Wayne. Go ahead, Wayne.
Okay, so my question is, based on this discussion, is the true center of the universe, in fact, Hershey, Pennsylvania?
It's very possible.
Ooh. Any
Perhaps,
place that makes Hershey
perhaps
chocolate.
Brussels has very good chocolate.
Yeah, they
I
say.
brought some back.
Yeah, what
All
they
right,
say is
Bees
that
chocolate.
there are more stars in the universe than there are sand on the beaches.
Really?
Wow,
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Brian
pretty
Cox.
crazy.
So tell us about your trip, Denny.
Well, first of all, it was so bloody hot out there. 1,500 people died in Europe during that week. That's how hot it was. I mean, I know some of you guys, live in Nevada and,
Wait a
stuff like
second.
that.
Are you being investigated for that, or did they find you innocent?
How hot was it?
It was hot. It was hot. I think 40 it felt like 42, which, I guess it's not really hot for, you know, people live in Arizona in the summer, but for people in Paris, it was really hot.
Well,
42
plus they don't
centigrade.
have a
Huh?
lot of they don't have a ton of air conditioning in Europe, do they?
At home,
Well,
duh. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
and there's
hot.
not a lot of they have energy problems, so they cut where they can. I mean, I was shocked to see the amount of electric
Self-inflicted, but I don't think they
mopeds.
had.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right, but I was shocked to see how many electric cars, electric bikes, electric scooters, electric everything. I mean, I saw a lot, even electric buses. But I mean, I redid the Louvre. I'd never been to Versailles. I did Versailles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I actually dared to rent a car, drove out of town, went and visited the only cathedral that's actually higher than Notre Dame de Paris, which was redone. And
Higher meaning elevation wise?
well, from the floor to the ceiling,
Oh, tall wise.
yeah. So Notre Dame de Paris is 117 feet,
Wow.
and Chartres is 120 feet. This is inside this
Wow.
this cathedral,
Wow.
And it's really funny because when I walked into it, the first thing I did was
Yeah.
Of course.
I walk in the room and I go, hey, and everybody looks at me.
I do that when I walk into ballrooms or rooms that I'm going to work in all the time. I'll go in and flap a couple of times and
Just to hear the acoustics of the room.
yeah.
but this is in a church where people are in a quiet mode. So it was I got a pretty stern look from my wife.
Yes, I'll bet you did, boy. Those wives are really on that kind of thing. They want to keep you in line, boy.
Yeah.
They want to protect you.
Yeah. So
From yourself.
yeah, I discovered a couple of facts about Le Louvre. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Louvre is.
It's a
Well, it's in
museum.
France, it's in Paris, and
Yeah, and
it houses the Mona Lisa.
And you're okay, good enough. So
All three of those are correct.
that's right. 2.2 million square foot floor space in the Louvre.
And it's under that patio where the big triangle is, right?
Correct.
That's right.
And the triangle is kind of a skylight, right?
That's
Yeah,
the
it's a
skylight
skylight
entry.
that's
Yeah.
right. It's a skylight for the lobby underneath.
Is that what's under there? I've never been there, but
Yeah,
I
it's
always.
the
The
lobby.
big,
Yeah.
huge, ridiculous mall down there too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Now, do they have trouble
13.5
with flooding?
Good question. Never heard of
That's
that.
a good question. I'm not sure. 13.5 kilometers of hallways. They actually call them in corridors over there, but I mean,
Couloir.
if you were to actually spend 30 seconds per painting, it would take you a year.
Wow.
So you never get to see everything.
Well, you got to pick it. Like, for example, I go to the Italians because I like the Italians, and you could go and see the Greeks, and you can go and see the different things. I mean, it's my third time in there, so I know where I want to go. I know what I want to take some time, and I took 4.5 hours this time in there. So,
But you couldn't see the whole thing in a year if you wanted to. I mean, you
Well,
have
what
to
the
be very
French
specific.
what the French do is they buy an annual pass, and like okay, it's a sunny day. Sorry, it's a rainy day. Let's go. Or we're trying to get out of the heat. Well, actually, it's still hot in there, but anyway. So it's you go there on a regular basis, and you go and see what you want to see. But
Do they have an electric docent that you could rent?
what? Sorry.
A docent, which is basically, that would be a mechanical headset that you put on, and then it tells
We were
you
just-
what
Oh
we
yeah,
you're
were
of
going to
course.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Of
I
course.
don't know
Of
if they have
course,
an
of course.
automated one though. They have ones that the guides can talk into.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have
Those
both.
as well. Yeah.
There isn't one that just is an intelligent guide that just knows where you are and talks about what you're standing in front of. You got to wear the thing, and your guy talks into a little headset mic.
The Louvre, Versailles has that as well. Now I saw how decadent their lifestyle was over there. Now I understand why Marie Antoinette's heads was chopped off. I mean,
Now they call it the Louvre, but isn't that also what they call the bathroom? over there as well?
Oh, it's the Louvre, not the Louvre.
That's right.
The loo.
Not quite the same. Not quite the same. And
There you
Not
go. We got a
not
highlight
inter-
reel now. All right.
Jan, not interchangeable
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, and Dennis, the docent isn't a sex toy.
Yeah. No.
There were a couple places outside, like where it meets the street, that maybe might have doubled as both a bathroom and a parking.
Yeah.
My kind of crowd. My kind of crowd. Yeah.
My
that's
kind
it.
of crowd. I love this crowd.
Are
I
you?
was lucky enough to go
are
there
you-
when
are-
I was 20, and there was no pyramid then in
Oh, no?
1970.
No, that's new. That's new. They
5.
built that. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's 20.
So,
plus
Dennis, are you
ago.
telling me these buildings are not air conditioned?
Well, I could feel any air conditioning.
They are, but
yeah.
when it's packed
Yeah.
like that and it's
Yeah.
hot outside, the difference is pretty minimal.
The Louvre has 20,000 people visiting it a day, and that's down from 30. But their staff complains so much that now they've cut it back. So it's 20,000 people visiting that building
Oh
a
my
day.
God!
And what do they charge for admission?
I think it was 16 euros.
16?
Yeah.
So that's pretty
That's
reasonable.
free. It's discounted or free for students certain days of the week, and they have it's honestly it's pretty fair.
Now, is their number one attraction the Mona Lisa?
Yeah, you're lucky if. Well, actually, you can get near it, but you're probably. I think that the rail around it is probably 2 meters, so like at least 8 feet. Like nobody's getting within like 8 to 10 feet of that thing. You know.
Is there a
it's
big
in-
line
and
to
it's
go see it?
behind a
Yeah.
plastic, acrylic
Yeah,
glass
there's-
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that there where the David is as well? The statue, the David.
David's there.
And,
Venus.
well, there's Rodin, and then there's Rodin also at another site in Paris. Beautiful
Yeah.
sculptures.
I mean, the David is just it's so amazing because it looks alive, even though it's sculpted. It's really
Oh no,
incredible.
it's
I took pictures of just hands of the Roman sculptures, and I'm thinking they're sculpting hands in marble, and you can see like the fingernail and all the lines,
yeah.
and I'm thinking like,
Mhm.
man, this is like 300 years before Christ, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that stuff didn't break when they were doing it, it's amazing.
Well,
Yeah,
not
I
that-
saw at
And it's
the
lasted this long too, through all the wars and all the bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
actually-
just read an article about it. Now you have to be the judge, but they say that the genitalia of these statues are very small, and because the statues are so big and they're smaller than what they should be. And there are studies now to see why they did that, because it's out of proportion of their bodies and their hands are bigger.
We just knew that Jan was going to go
Yeah,
there.
of course he had to go there. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I was just over at Caesar's Palace. I could tell you.
Well, it was the ancient Romans that came up with the saying "big nose." So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I got my technical question now. So here we go, back into
Let's
the
go
world
for it.
of audio. So I'm playing several gigs, and I'm going to be playing an electronic drum set.
Okay.
And
At
all
the
the
Louvre?
rest, all the rest of the guys are. So I'm going to be using in-ears, but most of the other guys are not using in-ears. So I'm going to need some kind of full range speaker to give them a hint of what's being played on the drums without being overpowering. And I've got the 900 LFCs on each side with X40s, so they're going to hear the kick drum kind of out of the back side of the sub. So I'm not too worried about the low frequencies, but there are two issues. One is time alignment, not only with my speaker but with the backline speakers and the PA system. And then secondly, what speaker would you use? So I've been looking at the QSC 12.2s. That sounds pretty good, but it's surprisingly narrow. It's 75 degrees. Now, obviously, it's a polar pattern. The lower frequencies are going to be wider and the highs are going to go narrower. But anybody got a recommendation?
So let me understand this. So your 900s and your X40s are being used as the PA. They're
Correct.
not available to you to point at the band.
Correct.
So is there there's got to be some kind of monitor system for them to sing through.
So these guys are going to be using their probably QSC 12.2s in front of the various musicians that so I can obviously pipe some drums through that.
You should do that. That way you're not dealing with competing backline time. Not that it's going to be probably a big enough stage that you'd be able to get enough time offset to matter, but just send it to each of their wedges and let them have however much of it they want.
Well, first, I understand why you're going there, Kurt, but I would say, what about the amount of headroom left into that wedge for the drum to be in there? That would be my concern. Like not knowing what else is going in those monitors.
Well, it depends on how loud they want to be.
Yeah, and what else is in the mix? If all there is in there is vocal, yeah, you could pipe some drums in. But you want to do it, Christopher, with just one speaker behind the drummer?
So, well, that's the other question. So if you look at the X40, it's really quite wide. It's 105 and on the highs, and so that's quite wide. And I was shocked that the QSC 12.2, which is apparently a really popular speaker, is
they're nice.
It's
for what they are. They're great.
It's concentrically. It's 75 degrees in all directions, obviously on the higher stuff. So I was thinking, do I want to buy a pair of 12.2s? And then that way, I could kind of, have left and right on each side of me and just turn those up enough that they can hear it, or do, as Kurt has suggested, just kind of get it through everybody else's wedges. And then, they're going to get some of the kick drum off the back of the subs, and that'll be enough. Or
what's the stage volume like? I mean, what are you competing with?
Sorry,
what's the stage volume of everyone else like? What you up against?
It's probably going to be actually pretty quiet. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I'm electing or thinking about using an electric kit over an acoustic kit, is to actually reduce the overall stage volume. And then there's another reason, which is that, unless you're Lenny White, it's pretty tough to play fast and articulate everything you want to do on drums and keep the volume reasonable.
Yeah.
So the electric drums are really good for that. I can, I got a volume knob, so I can hit those surfaces just about as hard as I want and only get the volume that I want.
Well, if you high pass everything, you might buy some headroom in the wedges. And I guess we put drums in the wedges all the time, but those are Meyer MJFs and they can take it.
That's so I was just looking, I thought, okay, yeah, I'll get myself a Meyer wedge. $12K for a freaking wedge. That's how much. That's the retail price.
That's retail.
How many people in the band?
So 2 guitars, bass, vocals, harmonica, and another vocalist. So like 5 people.
I mean, you could always consider having 2 QSEs and placing them along the wedge line, but not.
I was
if
thinking
the wedges
what I was
themselves
thinking
are
about
an
was,
issue,
was,
but just have a
was
separate
actually,
wedge.
Yeah,
put it in the same sphere.
Getting 2 QSEs and just using them as side fills.
Well, Chris, I could also tell you this. You could use the James Brown method.
I'm just dying to hear this. Go ahead, Jack.
You could use them as butt fills so that they'd be close to your kit and time with your kit, so that all the drums are coming from the same spot. Because there is going to be some amount of noise of the stick hitting the pad.
It actually, the acoustic noise is pretty quiet, but and out on the stage with other stuff, you're not going to hear it. But when you're in a small room rehearsing, the actual, it's like we measured, it's like 76 dB of just the stick hitting the mesh head with no amplification. Yeah. So there is actual. I was shocked. I didn't think it was that loud, but it is.
Another issue with having a conventional, like a backline approach where you've got speakers for the drums that are aiming forward, is that the guy mixing the show is not going to be able to control the relative level of the drum kit.
He's going
to have to build his entire mix around how loud your monitor speakers are.
Exactly.
Doesn't that happen anyway?
Yeah, but
should.
This is an opportunity to avoid that.
Wedges.
It's usually the Marshall that you're.
But not if you use the James Brown method. I'm telling you, the James Brown method. And the reason I know this is because I did a show with James Brown. And when he came on, and when he came to do the sound check, he looked at the stage and he pointed to the wedges and he said, "What are those?" And I said, "Well, those are your wedges." He says, "Yeah. What are they doing there?" And I said, "Well, that way your musicians could hear what's going on." I didn't know where he was going with this. So I started to explain to him what wedges do. And he turns to me and says, "Get rid of them. I pay my musicians enough. They don't have to hear anything." So,
You really said that, huh?
swear to
Old school,
God, get rid
baby.
of them.
That's so funny.
He says, "Get rid of them. I pay them enough.
So,
They don't have to hear anything."
so Chris, does each one of your electronic drum and cymbal outputs send to the console? Because in the original part of your story there, we didn't hear about a front of house guy or a front of
Yeah,
house console.
so they're well.
Or do
I'm
you
the
have a
front of
little
house
mixer
guy
next to
too,
you
so
and you
I'm just
send
gonna
them?
I'm going to turn up the drums and everything else is turned off, and it's just going to be me soloing. No, so so it's a great question. On the back of the Roland, I have the high end Roland. So yeah, there are each outs for
Now,
each
do you have a
surface.
little mixer to send
And
them a
then,
stereo
well,
feed?
the sound module itself is a mixer. It's even got the new one even has EQ in it.
Wow.
And you can, so you have two balanced outs, left and right, two unbalanced outs, and then each outs.
You have eight quarter-inch outs as well.
Are they balanced quarter inch?
That's actually, you know what? I'm not sure because there's different models.
Yeah, because if you got to run down a 25-foot snake to get over to the patch bay on side of the
There you go.
stage, you'd hope like hell they were balanced connectors.
All right, let's pin him. Let's pin him right here.
Okay, so
we
the
can look at
bottom
it.
rows here are trigger inputs, so don't get confused on those.
All
And
right,
then-
so your
these are
outputs
the balanced outs.
right. Your quarter inches up there are balanced also, so that's good.
And this is unbalanced outs.
Right.
Then there's some sort of stereo mix even here. And then we have each outs here.
Right. Each one of your outs, it says direct out balanced, and you could tip ring sleeve. There's a picture of a tip ring sleeve on there. So that's good. We like that. So that's pretty well made. That's a nice box.
Yeah, that's an expensive box.
This thing's amazing, to be honest. It truly is stunning. And this is the older one. I don't know what the newer one's in another case, but the new one, man, it even has EQ in it. And listen to this. There's actually an option to have it sound like a drum would sound, or like a mic'd drum, that's gone through some processing would sound.
Can you tell it to sound like other drummers' drums?
Now, actually, on the kind of in other words, depending on which sample packs you load in there, you could get
Isn't that so amazing, isn't it?
It's just
I just want to be clear on one thing, Chris, before you go any further, that you are not endorsed by Roland. This is something that you're talking about from your own.
I wish I was. I'd love to be endorsed by Roland.
You hear that, Roland? He wants to be endorsed.
Yeah, send this tape send your recording to the Roland people.
Well, Roland, I don't know if you guys know, but Roland bought DW, right?
That's where I was going.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
so you can load. You can now load DW sounds in the module.
So Roland bought DW because John Good and the other guys that were in Roland actually had quite a bit of debt rolling and going on, and they're kind of getting towards the age of retiring. But DW owns PDP. Obviously, that's kind of a lower brand that they've got, and they also own LP, Latin Percussion. So
where is DW based?
Oxnard, California.
I thought so. I didn't know they were based there, but I've been to that shop before. I didn't know if that was a remote shop or if that was.
No,
we took the scouts up there for a day
they've got
one time.
two things up there. They've got the actual confection of drums, and then they've got another big building over in Oxnard, which they I forget what they called it. They've got a big studio building with different studios and rooms, and a lot of the DW endorse people. DW, I'd love a DW endorsement. Those guys, they put all their gear in there, and they get everything all staged up and figured out before they go out on the road and that kind of thing.
There's a great
ultimately, Chris, you only need to, no matter how you decide to do it, whether you decide to just do a stereo mix of the drums, or whether you decide to side fill them or put them into mixes where you might need to cut them up or whatnot. You only need to remember the 2 rules of audio that I live by. And rule number 1, of course, is make everything louder than everything else. And rule number 2 is, when in doubt, add more tone. And if you follow those 2 rules, then everything will be fine.
That is,
cowbell.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Wayne. I appreciate
cowbell at the top.
That's right. A little more cowbell. A little more cowbell. Can't go wrong with that. Can't get wrong with that. Now, Wayne Sims specializes in this. This is his area of expertise. So, Wayne, what do you have to say for yourself on this? Give you an opportunity to chime in with the experts.
More based at all frequencies.
Based on all frequencies. Well, I find that if in the land of 12-inch speakers.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. All right, we appreciate that.
The land of 12-inch speakers.
In monitors.
Where 12 is big enough, right?
And has a 12-inch.
They don't give you enough bottom end if you want really loud wedges. But if you're on a small stage, I did a band for a long time, just a cover band for a long time that just had all electric drums. And I think he used to use acoustic snare, which was a bit of so that sort of left the volume of the drum kit pretty motivated. But everything else, we just had a drum fill, a big drum fill that had the kick drum in it and the toms in it, and it was still in the same spot as the drummer. So, but on a big stage, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. Side fills work good too.
Get an old Tycho Brahe box and then try to figure out how to haul it around. That'll be perfect.
And the one thing that I did buy, which is quite cool, is something called the butt kicker. So
butt kickers are great.
Yeah, this thing, I haven't hooked it up yet, but I got one. So
here's what you're going to find, that your monitor that you listen to with your drum kit in it, you can run a lot softer because there's a perceived loudness when they're kicking yourself in the ass. It is the coolest feeling. You turn your audio down because it's whacking you in the butt, and you feel, it's
Jan,
so weird.
Meet Bruce, meet Jan. We'll get you guys a room. And
that's it. We got a room. We got a room here at the Louvre.
You're gonna need big zip ties to attach it to all the other band members, though. If you get one for everybody.
So that brings me to my next question.
You bought one, which you're going to have to buy 5 more.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to my next question, Nick, Chris. What exactly about the Louvre were we talking about that made you think about doing this gig?
And those are unrelated, mate. Unfortunately, those are unrelated.
What?
But the one thing that
Mona Lisa was a
percussionist is that the electronic drum thing is pretty damn cool because you don't have the snare, so already that just completely cools everything off, and then this ability to turn this the principal knob on this thing and just be able to go between reggae kit and
that's it. To me, that's it. You can pick the one kit. Okay, what are you looking for? That's the sound that you want, and and you could leave it there for the evening.
So, Chris, do you know how much a really good, the top of the line Roland kit electronic kit is now with a controller like the one you have? What are we talking?
The flagship is the TD-716, which I have, and I think it's can be had into the 6s. I don't know. Could be
$6,000.
Yeah,
like that. I got an important question about your gig. Is there going to be any bongo drums there?
No bongos, mate.
Bongos.
No bongos.
That'll be patch number 4. Come on.
No timpanis.
Oh, wow. So no, they're more expensive now. It's I'm just looking at Sweetwater for the full rig is $87.99. But
I had said,
and that's like full retail. I work with stores that they give me a good deal, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, a comparable.
somebody told me you used to do business with this guy from SoundBroker. I don't know if it ever happened to him, but
He's awesome. I got my Meyer rig through him, and I'm very happy.
You know, a
So
comparable top of the line drum kit with cymbals and everything is gonna be real competitive to that price.
I can tell you that my other drum set is a Sonar SQ2, and
Is that fiberglass?
No, this is SQ2 is the line of drums that Sonar has where you can just design whatever you want.
Oh.
So you go on to the SQ2 configurator on the internet, and you can list, what the base material is, how many plies, what the interior color is, what the exterior finish is.
Can you put the wood plies also, like maple and?
Yeah. So, you select the wood. So either maple, beech, and I can't remember the other. Maybe it's birch.
Yeah.
And so you select,
right.
And then you can do 6-ply, 7-ply, 8-ply, whatever you want. And they make them. It took me a year to get them, and I'm glad I bought them a long time ago because they've gone nowhere but up.
And I'm glad they didn't burn down in the fire for you. So
they were at a studio, thank God. But yeah, they're Clear Mountain lost his whole rig and the Palisades, as did a lot of other folks.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, is there any
do you have
updates?
any Billy Blast drums?
Sorry?
Do you have any Billy Blast drums?
I do not.
Okay. Are there any
Bruce,
updates?
That's Renee's company.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I just had lunch with Renee yesterday. He was working on a set for somebody in some other country that ordered a set, so he was building them in his garage.
Yeah.
But my son's...
we used to work for Renee Audette. Do you know Renee Audette, Christopher?
I don't.
From the Q. He was in the meeting services division. He builds drums.
Oh wow!
My son's rock set is actually is Renee's kit. It's it's an octave set, and he was really new in it then. And I actually took them. We were having trouble with them staying in tune over time, so I took him to a guy that I don't even remember his name, and he had a lathe and he did the leading edges on them over again.
The bearing edge, yeah.
Yeah, the bearing edge, because if you do that by hand, you could really be good at it, and you're not going to get it perfect. It's just not going to happen. And so what I found is over a day or two, they would lose tune in certain spots. And so when I was talking to the guy, he says, "Yeah, bring them over. We'll take the heads off, and we'll redo the bearing edges, and they should sound better." And lo and behold, man, they're like great. They sound great.
I put a link to his site in the chat.
A little tidbit of information at Sonar: when they do the bearing edges, they take them off the lathe or whatever the machine is that does the bearing edges, and they have a very expensive, perfectly flat steel table. You wouldn't ever think about that, but a perfectly flat table costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
They put the shell on the table, and they take a piece of paper and they try to fit it in under the edge.
Really? Oh, interesting.
And normally, if the bearing, everything works right at Sonar, they can't even slip a piece of paper underneath the edge.
Holy cow.
Wow, that's precise. I never would have known that about drums.
Yeah, well, it's all about that leading edge, man, and you can change the angle of that edge, and it'll change the tone of the drum a little bit, but also the attack, the attack and everything. And man,
I thought it was all about the bass.
It's all about the bass.
It's
that's
all about
for sure.
the bass.
So speaking of all about the bass, and we're going to go away from this drum thing for a while because we've spent way too much time on drums. Wait. We'll spend a little bit more time on drums.
There it is.
Wow, that is nice.
That's your set?
Yeah. So it's in something called Vintage Azure. It's gorgeous.
It's very, very nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, my son's is pearl. It's like a pearl champagne, which is really gorgeous too.
Oh, yeah.
Champagne pearl or something. Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, Jan, go ahead.
So if you notice my background right now, you can see 5185 Southeastern Avenue. And the reason I bring this background in is because in 2002, I moved to Las Vegas, and that was my office building. And it was my office building for a long, long, long time. And now
Looks like a house.
it was an old house. It was at the
Oh,
edge of town. It was darkness at the edge of town. When they built Las Vegas, Eastern Avenue was at the very, very end of town. That's where the cemeteries were and the airport ended. And but now, of
not
course, it's
anymore.
not anymore. That's correct.
Wow.
Now, moving along to one more thing. Denny, did you went to Belgium? Is that correct?
Actually, no, I didn't. My son-in-law did, and I got him to bring me back chocolate.
Okay, and the reason I say that is because Mark J popped in the room. You guys might know Mark J from On Tour Network, and he sent me some information that he wanted us to share. Tomorrowland Belgium stage was destroyed in a fire 2 days
saw the
before the
pictures.
festival.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
The
a
pictures
fire
and the
has
video on
destroyed the
YouTube.
main stage at Tomorrowland Festival in Belgium just 2 days before the event was due. And I don't know what they're going to do, but it seems like that, the 400,000 people were expected to attend. And so now I don't know what the status of that concert's
You know
going to
what?
be.
The video on YouTube of the fire, the line arrays are huge, and they're hanging from these huge, truss towers, and the flames are taller than these towers holding these 20 box line arrays. So, it's like it's an arena line array, and the setup was huge.
oh,
And you could see on video on YouTube, you could see pictures and videos of this thing burning, and I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't even believe it.
oh man, the amount of gear that those guys use.
I'm sure it's
Yeah,
all
well, I'm
gone.
assuming it's an EDM festival. That's what it looked like to me.
Yep, no, it is totally. So
Yeah.
lots and lots and lots of end fire arrays and subwoofers, and oh man.
But
I'm
no
assuming
instruments
that
were
would have
harmed.
been
It was
I
a
would have-
complete set, it seemed like. It seems like it was a complete set. Here, let me see. I've got a picture I could share. There it is. I'll share it real quick.
Yeah, kind of an interesting looking thing.
The largest Medicaid cut in history.
Oh, well, there it is.
What it looks
Largest
like.
I'm
Medicaid
betting
cut
it
in
was
history.
an Adamson rig.
Oh, it was Adams?
I'm believe that Adamson does most of those EDMs in Europe.
A long time ago when they
thought
first
I
got
read
started, I
Fell
loved the sound of
Acoustics,
those.
but I don't know.
When I was at the queue, I didn't buy the Adamson rig because nobody in the United States had them, and I wanted to buy something that I could rent in other states really easily.
Right.
But I really liked the Adamson rig. They brought two of them and hung them in Cerritos Performing Arts Center, and I loved them. They were great.
They
I'm looking
used
at
a they
I'm
used a
looking-
very special diaphragm as well. I forgot what it was. It was like Teflon or
no, it's
Kevlar.
Kevlar.
Kevlar,
Kevlar.
which they were ahead of their time,
And
which
so does
but
Focal. Focal uses Kevlar too, and that's their
Yeah.
studio monitors are astounding.
yeah.
And I had
Well, they
Focal
also-
speakers in my car one time, and I'll tell you, people were just flabbergasted how good my car stereo sounded.
Right. And you didn't have to worry about getting shot by the bullet because you had the Kevlar.
Yeah.
That's it.
Kevlar.
There you go.
Yeah, I put a video in the chat of the fire.
Wow, that is.
Yeah, we used their stuff. They loaned us a Adamson rig a couple of times that I used at LACC, and it was, we were using. There was only VDOSC and JBL had just come out with the big 4889s. None of the littler ones were out yet, and Adamson brought in some of their Y10s and
The
so
Y10s, they were
They were
nice.
very impressive. I have not heard the new E stuff, but
Well, actually, they've just also come out with a new, I think it's called the VGT or something like that. It's they've actually come out with a cardioid box.
Now,
and
isn't
what I think is ironic is that the son,
I know,
Jesse
I know.
Adamson, works for Claire Brothers.
I know.
So-
I know.
Yeah, and somebody at Adamson was the JBL designer for something with the line arrays. There was something that had
No, Brock Adamson is the designer behind the Adamsons, as far as I know. You know.
Did he have experience at JBL before he did Adamson's?
Well, first of all, I've known him since back in '86,
He's been around
and
forever.
he was when he started Adamson back in '86, I didn't know of him beforehand, and even those first boxes sounded. I remember the very
They're
first gig on
wonderful.
Adamson. I was going to do my EQ thing, and and I'm going, well, do I actually need to?
Yeah, do you need to? Yeah, that's what I was like. Holy shit,
Oh,
these sound
okay.
so good.
Yeah, you know what? I'll do a little dip at 600. Like there you go. I
Yeah.
did some EQing.
As far as the Adamson rig, when I was at A1 Audio, and that was back in the early '90s, we went up to Canada to see Brock's rig, to see if because we were using Meyer MSL3s, and we wanted to move into a more rock and roll environment as well. Some of our clients wanted something else other than Meyer at the time, but we decided against it. We went with EAW because we felt that there was just more EAW in the United States, just like what Bruce
Yep.
was thinking. It
Oh,
just
yeah.
wasn't. He didn't have the big enough distribution.
Adamson, believe it or not, is not big in Canada. It's huge in Europe, huge in South America. There's actually some in Central America. Brock pissed off so many people in Canada that people are just not willing to give him back a chance.
One of the biggest reasons
difficult
why
man.
we went with JBL with the 89s was because the sound company in Fullerton, Flag had hundreds of them. And so we designed our racks and our power distro after Flag's rig because he would borrow our stuff and we would borrow his stuff. And, he was a great source for extra boxes when we needed them. And they had
cross rental
hundreds.
partner.
Yeah.
And plus, when you're working in, here's the big thing. When we were in the LA Convention Center, the rating for that building was 800 pounds a point.
This had a lot to do with it. Yep.
So if you span 2 points and you hung 8 4889s,
yep,
with the weight of the motor and the weight of the truss, you could get it to 1,700 pounds, and our rigger, Russ Traeger, could get us the 100-pound variance out of the building.
And nobody else would fall in that pounding on that weight.
It was bang per pound.
Yep, bang per pound.
Because of VDOS, they weighed 162 pounds. The VDOS weighed 240 or 220 pounds.
Oh, the VDOS was so heavy.
And
yeah, that was the other hugely determining factor of why
anything that
we went with the
Meyer
89s.
was making at that time would have been a Milo or a Lion or I don't know, something like that also weighed a tremendous amount.
Yeah, they were heavy
So
as well.
it didn't make any sense because we weren't in arenas where you had 200,000 pounds available to hang.
Yeah, very cool. Well, anyway, so David Dansky, where are you? Don't die on us now. Don't die during the show. That's it.
I'm at a house on the lake, which I was standing in front of before. It's dark outside now.
We saw the lake. I saw it.
I'm in Maine at some friend's house, and Myrna and I are visiting friends this week. We got friends in Maine. We got friends in Connecticut. We've got friends in East Hampton, and we have friends on Fire Island. So this is the Summer Friends tour.
Summer Friends tour. Very, very good. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, Kurt, what's going on? I would figure that you were really busy. I'm really happy to see you.
We're busy. I fly to Bend to do Seinfeld tomorrow and then straight back. And then we've got a big run here at Marymore. It's like 7 shows in 10 days. And then I got the same kind of thing in Bend. And then we picked up this drone show, which is like a string quartet playing live, and then like thousands of drones doing all of these, pre-programmed whatever, like think fireworks, but it's drones. And so we're doing that in Portland, and then we're going to do one up here. So I gotta fly to Bend, do a show, fly back to Portland, do a show for 3 days, and then get that truck back up here and turn around, fly back to Bend. So yeah, it's.
And what day is this that you're going to be in Bend?
I'll be there tomorrow and then Saturday for
Kurt, can I
Friday
ask you
for the
questions
show.
about the classical thing?
Yeah.
Are you doing like spot miking over the orchestra, or are you able to do clip-ons?
I just bought a whole pack
DPAs?
of DPA 4099.
There you go. Yeah, okay, there you go.
Because I think we're going to probably do this.
Everybody be going, what is that funny propellery sound in my microphone.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Very, very cool. So Sunday you're out of Bend. You're back in Seattle.
For a couple of days, and then I'm back in bed.
Very, very, very excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So Ken Porter came to Las Vegas. And we went to F1, and it is amazing. The F1 Grand Prix Plaza is what it's called, and it is a ton of fun, And actually, we didn't get a chance to go-kart race, which they have really sophisticated go-karts, because he had gone go-karting the night before with Kelly Clarkson's crew, and so he didn't. But we did the F1 simulator, and it's very, very cool. Very, very cool. I will say one thing. If you do the F1 simulator, be prepared to get a little bit dizzy because the straightaways are fine. I mean, you're really in the car and things are flying by you. But the curves, as you curve with the machine, it's on hydraulics. You start to get a little bit dizzy when you're doing the curves. It's very impressive, very impressive. I highly recommend it. And I am not endorsed by F1, unfortunately, but I would love to be endorsed by F1. There you have it.
To see the movie?
I saw the movie. Oh,
Movie's
by the
fun.
way, I got
Good
something to
movie.
say about the movie. So I went with a friend of mine to the movie and we saw it in IMAX and it was spectacular. But he liked it so much that he wanted to take his girlfriend to see the movie and he went to a non-IMAX theater. And what he said to me, the difference is night and day. If you don't see it in IMAX, it's not worth seeing. So that's what he said to me. Remember, everything you hear is an opinion. Do your own research. But that is really, I mean, very, very cool. So anyway,
What is
I
that?
had so much to talk about, but we moved on to so many different subjects that we could stay in the room. And when we say goodbye to everybody, which we are about to do right now, because streaming for an hour is more than enough. So Greg McVeigh next week, and then we have a special treat coming from Europe. We're gonna have a guest in our room from Europe that is in the music business. One thing, and I want to say this, is that you guys heard about this thing called Sundown Velvet. Did you hear about this? It's a artificial intelligence band that has had over 1 million listens on Spotify. And I was listening to some of my tech guys talk in the various podcasts, and they're saying that Spotify is encouraging this because if they don't have to pay any royalties on artificial intelligently created music. That means they don't have to pay anything. So if they start to develop their own AI music, it'll just be pure profit for them.
Did you see the Beto YouTube on where he analyzes them? And after we talked about it last week, I went and I watched that video, and
Tell us about it. Just give us a rundown quick.
So he has a program that takes apart a stereo mix and puts it back in its multi-track format. There must be something in the tunes that triggers the program to decipher the tracks, right? And he played an example with all the tracks on the screen. And then there was another band we were talking about last week that I actually listened to that I thought was really interesting. And he had that stereo playback of that tune, and he imported that into his computer and tore that one apart. And the computer could not multi-track it without all these artifacts because it was never really multi-tracked to begin with. And his view on the whole thing and was really interesting. It was a good watch.
What did he say? Was it scary to him? Does he feel
a little disturbing, because basically, music in all of its forms is an art form, and if you're going to have a computer, doing pop tunes and all the human element goes away, and nobody gets paid, and nobody gets credit for doing the songs, and you're like, so how do you deal with that? It's just a
That's
very
it.
scary
Yeah,
thing.
that's the problem.
I got to be honest with you. There might be a few good things about AI, but I'm scared to death of it because you know what? It doesn't matter how many great things come out of it. There's always going to be bad guys, and the bad guys are going to ruin it for everybody. And that's how I feel about that. And I'm really
Yeah, Denny, you
afraid
want
of
to say
that.
something?
Well, it's about the subject. First of all, I didn't want to interrupt Bruce, but Rick Beato did a video where he actually prompted a computer using a particular software, and he did 4 songs, and he did them in seconds. And all he did was this type of music, this type of voice, blah
Tell a
blah blah,
story or something.
and then and boom, and actually it produced 2 versions, like with a different tempo, and then he said, okay, no, do it this way, and it did it again, and it wasn't great musically. I mean, it kind of sucked to me, but I mean, I can tell you that
Surprisingly good.
anybody under the age of 20 would probably never be able to tell
Yeah.
that this was AI,
Well, if you
Uh,
really want to freak out, Google or go anyway, look at Google VEO3, and that will, if that doesn't freak you out, you're not freakable. That's all I could say.
my buddy does movie work. He mixes and he does voiceovers and blah blah blah. So now listen to this, voiceovers. So what they could do is they could take a voice, like, I don't care, name an actor, take his voice, take a bit of his voice, and then you could input a script, and then they could make him, like, let's say Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, here's a script. I want you to say it like this, sound like blah, 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 and it will spew it out like in seconds.
11labs.io. 11labs.io is what you're talking about. And right now, the Hollywood Reporter had a cover on Keanu Reeves saying this is not Keanu Reeves. And so let's leave it with that. But I'll tell you, I'm going to leave you with some good news. All right. Robert Plant is going back up on tour at 77. He's going out. He announces the Saving Grace tour and band. So Robert Plant is going to be touring the United States.
Wow.
So yay for Robert Plant. There you go. And with that, if there's anybody that has anything else to say before we say goodbye to everybody, say it now. Okay, that's it. So thanks for watching. 268 episodes in the can. Remember, everything you heard today is opinion, so do your own research. And we will see you again next week, same time, same place. And remember, you make it happen. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll stay in the room to keep talking. All right.